Abdullah bin Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with them, narrated that, he heard Messenger of Allah, as saying, 3 men, amongst those who came before you, set out until night came and they reached a cave, so they entered it. A rock fell down from the mountain and blocked the entrance of the cave. They said, nothing will save you from this unless you supplicate to Allah by virtue of a righteous deed you have done. Thereupon, one of them said, O Allah! I had parents who were old. And I used to offer them milk before any of my children or slaves. One day, I went far away in search of grazing and could not come back until they had slept. When I milked as usual and brought the drink, I found them both asleep. I hated to disturb them and also disliked to give milk to my children before them. My children were crying out of hunger at my feet, but I awaited with the bowl in my hand for them to wake up. When they awoke at dawn, they drank milk. O Allah! If I did so to seek your pleasure, then deliver us from the distress caused by the rock. The rock moved slightly but they were unable to escape. The next said, O Allah! I had a cousin whom I loved more than anyone else, in another version he said, as a man can love a woman. I wanted to have sexual intercourse with her but she refused. Hard-pressed in a year of famine, she approached me. I gave her 120 dinars on condition that she would yield herself to me. She agreed, and when we got together, for sexual intercourse, she said, Fear Allah and do not break the seal unlawfully. I moved away from her in spite of the fact that I loved her most passionately, and I let her keep the money I had given her. O Allah! If I did that to seek your pleasure, then remove the distress in which we are. The rock moved aside a bit further but they were still unable to get out. The third one said, O Allah! I hired some laborers and paid them their wages, except one of them departed without taking his due. I invested his money in business and the business prospered greatly. After a long time, he came to me and said, O slave of Allah! Pay me my dues. I said, All that you see is yours, camels, cattle, goats and slaves. He said, O slave of Allah! Do not mock at me. I assured him that I was not joking. So he took all the things and went away. He spared nothing. O Allah! If I did so seeking your pleasure, then relieve us of our distress. The rock slipped aside and they got out walking freely.
Imam Nawawi explains this hadith in his book Riyad as-Salihin. He emphasizes that Allah's generosity and mercy are immense. If a person intends to do a good deed but is unable to carry it out, Allah still rewards them for their intention. If the person actually performs the good deed, their reward is multiplied manyfold, ranging from 10 to 700 times or even more. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali in his book Jami' al-Ulum wal-Hikam explains that Allah's justice and wisdom are manifest in this hadith. He states that intending to do good but not being able to fulfill it is still rewarded because intentions hold weight in the sight of Allah. When a person carries out their good intention, Allah multiplies their reward to an extent that He deems appropriate. On the other hand, intending to commit an evil act but refraining from doing so is rewarded as a full good deed, showing Allah's mercy and forgiveness. Imam al-Qurtubi in his Tafsir al-Jami' li-Ahkam al-Quran explains that this hadith highlights Allah's knowledge and recording of all deeds, both good and bad. Allah takes into account a person's intentions, and the intention itself holds significance in the divine record. Even if a person is unable to carry out their good intention, Allah rewards them fully. Conversely, intending to commit an evil act but refraining from it is recorded as a good deed, showcasing Allah's mercy and guidance.